Hi, I'm Joey Only, notable weather nerd, and today we're going to talk about the relationship between temperature and forest fires. It's June in Wells, British Columbia. Top of the day, hitting 17 degrees. Wow, she's warming up. Let's talk about the relationship between temperature and fire. So, what is temperature in regards to this discussion? Temperature is the hotness or coldness of the atmosphere at any given time, place, location, right? So it's a scientific measurement. It's outside of 17 right now. Maybe it'll go up to 17.3 later. Maybe it'll get up to 18. Maybe it'll go down later to 16.3. Maybe I can go up the hill, get a slightly different measurement. Maybe I can go to the lakes, get a slightly different measurement. So temperature varies between locations. We know this. Most of the heating in our atmosphere, it's indirect, right? So you think about the atmosphere, the troposphere, the first 50,000 feet, it can be quite cold. As you get up higher and higher, it can be well below freezing, even at the height of summer. That's why you see contrails from airplanes making puffy clouds. The moisture comes out of the engine. And once you get up to 60,000 feet, it starts getting warmer and warmer. But all underneath that first 50,000 feet, most of the heat that's going to arrive there comes from ground heating, from the sun reaching through, hitting the ground itself, warming the ground. This is important to know for how thunderstorms are formed. That ground heating provides convection. The next thing temperature does is it preheats fuels. Preheats ground fuels, wood, things that are going to burn in your forest fire, right? Why is this important? Well, because fire itself isn't, like, you think of a piece of wood burning, you think of the wood itself on fire, but actually that's not what's happening in the chemical process. What the chemical process is doing is gases are coming out of the wood. Those gases are then being ignited because they're hot enough. That provides the chemical reaction that provides fire, right? You need heat, you need fuel, you need oxygen, then you have fire. So why is this important? Because the warmer things are, the more they're going to off-gas. The more they're going to off-gas, the more they're likely to ignite. Well, what also happens to fuel when it's really warm? The moisture in it evaporates faster. The warmer it is, the faster that moisture evaporates. And the drier something gets, the more likely it is to burn. Well, temperature also affects the firefighters themselves. In British Columbia in 2021, when it was 48 degrees, who was able to actually fight fire in that temperature? And what was fire going to do in that temperature? It was going to be explosive because of how hot it was. Now, a firefighter might get cold, you might get hypothermia. This happens. You sweat too much and you're working up in the mountains and the sun goes down. This happens even in the height of fire season. People are unprepared for how cold British Columbia's mountains can be. And when it's too hot, what happens? Well, you're at risk of heat exhaustion and then heat stroke if it gets worse, which is a life-threatening condition. Throughout the day, temperature changes. When you get to the later afternoon, that's when things get drier. The humidity in the air, the amount of moisture in the air goes down most often. The temperature goes up. So late in the afternoon, that's when you can expect that. And that's going to cause fire conditions to do what? Well, we know what the 30-30-30 rule is. We know what crossover is. That means 30-degree temperature gets that high, but the humidity in the air goes below 30%. So that gets a crossover. Then you have winds of 30 kilometers per hour pushing whatever direction. Explosive fire potential. Temperature has a seasonal variation, of course. The more sunlight hours you get in a day, the more likely you're going to have hotter days. The warmer the temperature, the longer the daylight hours, the more hours of active burning you're going to have. So temperature varies with altitude, forest cover, terrain, aspect. It's warmer in the valley bottoms, of course. You've experienced this. It's warmer on the south-facing slope, cooler under the canopy of the forest. More forest cover means cooler temperatures down below. And then generally, the higher up you go in the mountain, the cooler it's going to be. But then you get inversions when the warm air rises. And sometimes up in the higher terrain, it can be quite warm, even late in the afternoon, even early in the evening. And this can affect fire burning. Our next video will be on relative humidity and its relationship with forest fire. Please subscribe to my channel, support me on Patreon, or leave a tip on YouTube right there. I'm Joey Only, Caribou Weather Dude. We'll see you next time. Bye now.